I didn't see these people promoting a misogynistic message actually carrying it out. Meaning the pickup industry, the dating industry, the red pill industry, whatever you want to call it, they say all this shit and it hurts men more than women. That's what I've always seen. Whereas you actually went out, you lived this thing. And here's the flip side of it. It's like when you do have a life of women, you know, when you are having sex all the time, when you are that guy who may be living that quote unquote, whatever you want to define, a playboy lifestyle, or even some might call a misogynistic lifestyle, it is completely different than what this megaphone of back then, the pickup industry, now the red pill scene or whatever it is, or whoever's talking about it, it's very different. Like if I talk to you about like, man, you know, a woman just wants your money. You're like, man, shit, Steve, whatever, da, 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 this happened and that happened. And you just kind of laugh about it, right? But with them, they're not having the results. They've had a couple bad marriages or a bad marriage or a bad relationship. You know, it's like when I look at the red pill guys talking about this, like there's a prominent dude who everybody likes and he's been married, had a horrible divorce, and then dated a shitty girlfriend. And then after that, it's like power over women, you know? How do I get that, right? And he may or may not be doing that, but that's not that much experience, man. I mean, I've had a lot of relationships with women. I've had a lot of close, intimate relationships with women. I've been married. I've had kids. I've had, you know, all the struggle within that. And man, if I were to whittle it down to, man, women want money and they're hypergamous and da-da-da, and like needing all this science, it takes away from the actual experience of it. And just, this is kind of why I bring up the misogyny thing from a dating coach perspective is, man, I don't think that dating coach, that the industry of that, the culture of that, I don't think it hurt women. I think it was loud. I think it promoted a poor message. But to be honest, most of those guys weren't doing it. Like how many dating coaches do you know that, one, were actually successful with women, and then how many were like assholes to women?
Okay, so a lot to, you know, take in there.
Yeah.
We'll go. I'm just trying to think. Like, I mean, the whole movements that came up, I think there's a lot of the failures, right? And because they failed, they got better. And I think there's a big difference. I think there's always a problem when you say these people blank.
Yeah,
all right?
Totally. Guilty of that.
Like whenever you generalize a group of people, whether it's women, whether it's black people, white people, Jews, anything, you're in bad territory, right? Like right off the bat, because now you're just getting bitter towards a whole subsect of people that's going to shape and filter every single thing you do. So that's number one. That's why when guys start talking to me about, well, society is like this, sociological stuff, I'm like, I don't give a shit about society. Don't worry about that. Whatever's going on in society, don't worry about that. I'm worried about psychology, one-on-one, what's going on. Every girl is different. Let's focus on this, because you can't change society. Why are we even mentally masturbating and talking about this, right? So whenever that kind of talk comes up in my group, I actually did in the last group call, funny enough, guy was talking about like, well, women in general, like, you know, they all want it. I'm like, stop. Like that doesn't help anybody.
100%.
And, you know, all women are on Tinder because they want validation. I'm like, you don't know that. No, let's not make any of these like crazy assumptions that doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. So that's number one. The second thing is, in terms of, you asked, well, every guy who's good with women, who's very successful with women, the dating coaches who made it, they all have some love for women. They all have some, like, they care about women. They enjoy being around women. I've never met, you know, so far, I never met a guy who's like, all women suck. I hate them all. They're the worst. And now he's like, I get women left to right. All women love me. It's just, now there are guys who use women, and they use it for their own sometimes selfish gain, and they are very good tactically, and they know the techniques, they know manipulation techniques and all the tricks and whatever. But those guys behind closed doors, which is very funny, because I'll see that same dating coach go on stage talking about positivity and internal validation, and how you should never let anyone affect you. And then later that night, he's like in my apartment crying about how awful you know, things are, and he's just super like on every drug known to man and freaking out and stuff.
Yeah.
And just like, so I'm just like, what is going on here? There is definitely a disconnect because you don't have to, you can like, I've seen guys who are deeply depressed or hate themselves who are very good with women, unfortunately, because they have a technical skill.
Yeah.
But I've never seen them go, I hate women, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's never a like, I want nothing to do with them, they suck, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've seen in terms of the guys who've made it in terms of being a dating coach or just very good in general.
And I'll even say this, like a guy who's done it for a